Ọlọ́run mi má gbàgbé o ọ̀rọ̀ tá a jùmọ̀ sọ. Ọlọ́run mi má gbàgbé o ọ̀rọ̀ tá a jùmọ̀ sọ. Gbà mí ò mú kọ́lẹ́kùn. Ẹlẹ́dàá mi gbà mí ò mú bẹ̀bẹ̀ o. Ẹlẹ́dàá mi gbọ́rọ̀ mi rò ayé wò mí. Ẹlẹ́dàá mi gbọ́rọ̀ mi rò mí yàn béèrè o. Ẹlẹ́dàá mi gbọ́rọ̀ mi rò ojú má tì mí o. Ẹlẹ́dàá mi gbọ́rọ̀ mi rò ojú má tì mí o. Àṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ yọ ìmọ́lẹ̀ mi rè ó Olúwa o. Kùtùkùtù òwúrọ̀ mi rè ó jíjí mo jí. Mẹ́kọ̀ọ́ bí ọ̀sán gbé mi rè o. Mẹ́kọ̀ọ́ bí alẹ́ máa já mi sí. Èlùdé ológo. Ọ̀rọ̀ mi kúnlẹ̀ sí o. Aláṣẹ ọ̀rọ̀. Ẹlẹ́dàá mi gbà mí ò mú kọ́lẹ́kùn. Ẹlẹ́dàá mi gbà mí ò mú bẹ̀bẹ̀ o. Ẹlẹ́dàá mi gbọ́rọ̀ mi rò ayé wò mí. Ẹlẹ́dàá mi gbọ́rọ̀ mi rè mí yàn béèrè o. Ẹlẹ́dàá mi gbọ́rọ̀ mi rò ojú má tì mí o. I can see you, my sister, Peju. I can see you. Adenike. Hey, Yabe. Tó dára. Inú bí ní òkan tàìwá áwù. Bó bá fojoojúmọ́ dọ̀bálẹ̀ rábà pàfẹ́ abínú ẹni. Kò ní kó má rọjò ẹ̀ lẹ́yìn o. Wà ló sọ ó wí pé sọ pé ọjọ́ kan ní ìyẹ́kùn o. Ẹni pé ìkà fọ́mọ́lá kejì àwẹ̀ o. Ojú yóò rí. Ojú yóò rí. Ojú rẹ̀ lọ́lọ́run àṣẹ ìkóso. Ẹlẹ́dàá mi gbà mí ò kọ́lẹ́kùn. Ẹlẹ́dàá mi gbà mí ò mú bẹ̀bẹ̀ o. Ẹlẹ́dàá mi gbọ́rọ̀ mi rò ayé wò mí. Ẹlẹ́dàá mi gbọ́rọ̀ mi rò. Thank you, Adeshola Nurudeen. Ẹlẹ́dàá mi gbọ́rọ̀ mi rò kojú má tì mí o. Ẹlẹ́dàá mi gbọ́rọ̀ mi rò ojú má tì mí o. Ẹyẹlé ti kú ṣeré. Wọ́n ń bú mi. Wọ́n dẹ̀ bú mi. Gbọ́sọ̀ lọ́rùn mi lè ṣe ìyẹn lọ. Tó ṣe lánà ni mo sì ń jẹ o. Mo ti tún gbé tè òní dání. Bèrè pé ṣọlọ́run mi lè ṣètọ́lá. Mò ń dá wọn lóhùn, mò ń wí pé kí má ṣàníyàn lára Ọlọ́run mi sọ o. Ó ní bí mo bá fi ṣèfẹ́ ohun gbogbo ní ṣíṣe. Bàbá Ṣògo òǹgbà yé. Wọ́n ní ta ló ṣẹlẹ̀ fún mi tó ní tọ́bẹ̀ òṣòro. Wọ́n ní ta ni mo gbójúlé tí mo fi ń ṣakọ. Wọ́n ní òbí tí mi tọ́jú mi yóò rí dá o. Ajá ilẹ̀ ilẹ̀ ni máa pọ̀ bọ́, ìwọ ni mo wí o. Bàṣírí ẹ̀kọ́ ìlú ló wà ó jàre o. Okay, so Babara, Olubukola Olomola, thank you so very much for the music. That's very inspirational. And that's one of the best music that you can actually find in Celestial Gospel. Despite the death of Barbara, his prophecy, the music, and the prophetic declaration of the music continues. The album is titled... I'm going to find the title of the album. And I think once you check Sacrament and the next album, you can actually see Barbara Aro come to as well. Thank you so very much, Peju, for that wonderful time. Ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to talk about some other special topic that is very important. As usual, Emini Victor Lare Momoshen, Omo Elaje Omoro, Agomoni, Agbeno Konhewa, Agbeno Rijo, Don Topa, Akeru Noko, Bi Oyinbo, Akeru Noko, Bo Oyinbo Rokun, Ọmọ Bo Oyinbo Ṣòwò má pàdánù, Ọmọ Aṣàlẹ̀ Jẹ̀jẹ̀bọ náà ìnóbìnrin, èmi náà ni ọmọ awẹ̀búlẹ́búlẹ́ jògbòrì máàmà pàwà ń bọ̀, àwa rèé, ọmọ olúgbà héré họ̀họ̀nẹ, ọmọ àgàgàjìgà, ọmọ àjíkìjàgà, àtòwúrọ̀ kùtùkùtù jágbe mẹ́rú, ọmọ lẹ́bí lóòtán, ọmọ àlàwọ̀ lúgbò. Èmi náà ni olówódóbìnrin Ọ̀yọ́. Right now, olówódóbìnrin Ọ̀ṣun. Hey, Baba Alaje speaking. Okay, guys. You know that all the time, like for a whole lot of time, I've actually been speaking about immigration and all of that. But today I want to talk about something that is also very important, because I think it's ideal and it's also necessary that people should understand from another perspective, rather than we focusing on immigration, but people need to understand that there is human trafficking, which is a very major problem, like a global problem that is affecting every country in the world. In as far as countries in the world want people to come over, and the host country most times benefit a lot from the impact and development that immigrants are putting into the society or the system. As well, there's a problem that needed to be tackled, that needed to be discussed, that needed to be talked about, and that problem is human trafficking. So, human trafficking is an unlawful act of transporting or coercing people in order to benefit from the work or their services, and typically in the form of forced labor or sexual exploitation. So, human trafficking is illegal. We should understand that, and it also involves exploiting people for forced labor or the services that they provide, or engaging them in commercial sex. And why I really choose to talk about human trafficking is today is that people feel like I can do anything, I want to travel, I need to get out of this country. And especially during festive period like Christmas, New Year, you see a lot of people coming from out of the country. You see some big aunties are returning back home. Some big brothers are returning back home, and they are spending money, spending dollars, pounds, and trying to not really like intimidate people, but sometimes we feel like they are intimidating us with the way they spend money unnecessarily. They go to parties. Some of the parties, they are not even invited. Some of the parties is even their brother's friends or their sister's friends or their friend who is organizing such party, but they want to show off. Like, they want people to recognize their presence. They want people to know that, yes, I don't come, I don't land. So by so doing that, they are spending money, then people are going to be looking at them like, oh my God, this person is coming back from Italy, or this person is coming from France or from Europe and is spending so much money. And then most times we feel intimidated by what they do or how they spend money. But the basic question we need to ask ourselves is, what are these people doing? What kind of work are they doing? How are they getting this money that they are spending unnecessarily? How are they getting this money? And I will tell you that anybody that is doing a genuine business will know the value of the currency he or she is spending, and they will always attach responsibility or civic responsibility to their behavioral madness. You know, sometimes we have this behavioral madness in Nigeria that people spend money a lot, like they match money on the ground. They just want to show off unnecessarily, spend money to the musicians while their family members are suffering, or a lot of people are suffering around them. There's poverty around them, but they just want to show off. So, but do not be that desperate that you say, oh, I think I want my daughter to go with this sister to the city. And that's how human traffic happens. So, I'm going to talk about the types of human traffic. We have three major types of human traffic. The first one is sex trafficking, and the second one is about forced labor, and the third one is debt bondage. So I'm going to explain one after the other. Let's go to sex trafficking. Sex traffic is very common in Nigeria, in Africa, and across the world, in Europe, everywhere in the world, sex traffic. So you see people going to the village and they promise, you know, those young girls, some of them are teenagers, some of them are even like 12 years old to 19 or even less than 23 years old. They will promise them, I'm going to give you a good job. When you get to the city, you'll be able to work and earn big money. And those girls are very naive. Some of them are not exposed. Some of them are illiterate. And because they see the lavish lifestyle of those big aunties, big brothers, uncle and aunt, they just want to go and explore. And their mother will also be supporting, praying, my daughter needs to travel, my daughter needs to travel. When they take your daughter away from you, don't be surprised, your daughter could end up in sex trafficking gang. And of course, we've seen, myself personally, I've seen, because I grew up in Ijoraba there, and I know that a lot of time you see ladies going to the village, bringing innocent, naive girls from either Ogoja, Calabar, from Igbo land, some of them from far away, you know, because you see all of these people coming from the east, bringing those girls, innocent girls, and then instead of those girls being engaged, either being in school or working somewhere, they just put them in forced sex trafficking. So they continue to engage in commercial sex work without necessarily be able to, without their consent. Some of these girls are virgin, and when they get to Lagos or get to anywhere they are taking them to, or to Europe, they seize their passport, seize every, even phone, they seize it away from them, and then they continue exploiting their body, making them to work for the benefit of their traffickers. You know, those perpetrators of this evil will continue to benefit from this explosion, and whatever money these girls are making, they can't even eat any food they like. They won't even have access to necessary or quality medical services. They just continue to cover them up in the shackles of the bondage of sex work. So I've seen that a lot of time. 12 years old girl, 13-year-old girl, 14-year-old girl being exploited in sex work, and many of them do not want it. That's not what they plan for their life. That's not what they want to be, but they end up in that condition, and they continue to do that. And some of the consequences that myself and you know is that they could end up having their womb damaged. Because, you know, what of course do you expect from a girl that is being sexually exploited every day of her life? The only time those girls have a break is when they are in their ovulation period. You know, like 3 to 5 days, at most 7 days. When they are in their ovulation menstrual cycle, that's the only time that they have break to rest. And sometimes those madam want to continue to exploit them to work, and they get this money away from them. How much is the money that they use in transporting them? Sometimes, you know, those girls, they can take them to a shrine or an herbalist or a prophet, you know, to swear an oath that when you get to Europe, you are not going to disappoint the boss, you are not going to disappoint the madam. They give you concoction to drink, and not to tell or not to disappoint, not to lie, not to run, and all of those things. And they seize their passport. And so they continue out of fear, remain in the shackles of the bondage, and continue in that sex trafficking. You are destroying their life, you are destroying their womb, you are destroying their future, and most times it may be difficult for them to even have a child of their own, you know. Yes. Thank you so very much, Roy, for that contribution. A lot of people were victims, and they share their testimony of the dark heart. Of course, we've seen a lot of that happening. So mothers, you need to understand the implication of this. I want my daughter to travel. Even my son, they do a lot of forced labor, including for boys and girls. You know, somebody can just take a boy, even a girl, to abroad, or if they're not engaging them in sex trafficking, they can as well engage them to be working, and they'll be collecting money from them. Like somebody will spend 600,000 or like ₦1 million to take you to Europe, and the person will sign an agreement with your family, with you, that you are going to pay them ₦5 million in return for spending ₦1 million for you to be transported to Europe, and then you keep working all the time. Sometimes they could sign 6 months, 1 year, 2 years. Every money you make in those years is going to be for those people who are trafficking you. So why are you always like, I want my son to travel or my daughter to travel? We need not to be that, we shouldn't be too curious of taking our children out of the country without necessarily finding out what kind of job these people are doing. I really appreciate you, my mommy, from joining me all the way from Maryland. God bless you in this time, and Happy New Year in advance. So, forced labor, and then there's what we call debt bondage. You know, debt bondage, it happened a lot of time. Somebody will go borrow your parents' money in the village, and they deliberately do it by giving so much money that they feel that your mommy or your father cannot be able to pay back this money. And when they borrow those money, they will come back and say, yes, since you cannot pay this money, give me your child or your daughter. I take your child or daughter to the village or to the city or to Europe, and then he or she is going to work with me for like 5 years, 7 years to pay back the money you are owing. And after 5 years, 7 years, they are going to be free. A lot of people do that, and they still do it up to now in 2020. You see people taken from the village, like all these Akwa Ibom boys and girls, they take them out to the city and to engage them in home service, to be housemaid. They'll continue to work with the masters in the city, taking care of children or serving people in their house without necessarily getting paid for the work for so long. That is totally wrong, and that is human trafficking, because it's against the consent of the individual child or adolescent, and most times it's even against the will of those individuals, and you continue to exploit them, making them work for you without necessarily paying them back. Estimates suggest that about 50,000 people are trafficked into the United States of America each year. So despite that we have United States of America, there are other people who are also trafficked even into the United States of America. And most often those people that are trafficked are coming from Mexico and the Philippines. And in 2018, over half, which is 51.6% of the criminal human trafficking cases that are active in the US are sex trafficking cases. So over 50% of the people who are trafficked into the United States are individuals who are trafficked for sex work. And most times we have a high case in the number of children, even little children. So because most of these girls, sometimes when they engage in sex trafficking or sex work, they end up having children out of the wedlock, out of their commercial sex activities, without necessarily knowing who is responsible for those, who is responsible for the child, and they cannot be able to give an account who is the father of this child. Okay? If you want to contribute, you can signify. I'm going to invite you to contribute to this discussion because it's very important. So from all the indices that we have and the statistics that is available, people who are the average age for those who are trafficked all over the world, almost within 19 to 33 years old. So we have a lot of young people, adolescent girls and boys who are trafficked out of the country or within the village to be part of sex work unnecessarily without knowing to these people. If you want to contribute, let me know. If you're online, let me know. I can invite you, okay? Don't call me, please. If you call, you are going to break the discussion. Okay, so human trafficking is a very big industry that has generated a lot of resources all over the world. People are making so much money. They are making a lot of profit. And according to research and statistics that is available, over $150 billion is the profit that individuals who are involved in human trafficking are making every year. Okay? So this is according to the International Labour Organization report of 2014. So the human traffickers have made over $150 billion. About 19 billion is made from commercial sex traffic, and then 34 billion in construction, manufacturing, and all of those things. So they take people again. You've seen a lot of agents that will say, yes, you can. There's a lot of work in Dubai as well, in Qatar, in Kuwait, and in construction and all of those things. And they ask you to even come apply. Don't worry, don't pay any amount of money or something like that. And they make you sign some deals that you are going to be paying back this money, and the money is going to be so exorbitant. By the time you get to any of those countries, before you realize, you already traffic, because you are going to be engaged in forced labor, working without pay, or working and somebody else is getting this money away from you. So the motive of this discussion for today is to be able to help to prevent human traffic, and to be able to teach young people, adolescents, including parents and our community members, so that we can be aware, and professionals as well, to prevent sex trafficking, and by also helping to identify some of the warning signs of sex trafficking and all of that. So when I discuss about encouraging people who want to migrate to take a step to be able to go if they want to travel, or relocate if they want to, I am not encouraging people to engage in illegal travel or human traffic, or being a victim of human traffic. So we know this happens every time, and we cannot deny the existence of some of these problems. So when sex trafficking occurs, this is what I want you to know. Sex trafficking is always occur or happen when someone is being forced against their will, against their consent, and against their wish. And most times these people are being defrauded. You know, sometimes they could even make your family members sell so many things, or get a lot of money away from your parents, and they promise to take you to Europe. Most of our girls want to go to Italy, and they feel that there's going to be a lot of work. There's no work anywhere. All these people are just going to deceive you, and they make you end up being in the sex industry, and you're going to be having sex with people against your wish. Some of the victims are not experienced. Some of them are young people, or too naive, or even virgins who don't have any understanding of what sex is all about, or even how to prevent or protect themselves. And they end up either having their womb damaged, or having multiple sexual transmitted infections, or even getting infected with HIV or some other herpes or viral infection that could damage their life and their future. So we need to understand that when anybody is making you to travel and they are seizing your passport, they're asking you to bring your passport, or the person is saying, don't worry, give me your passport, let me hold it for you, and all of those things, no matter how young you are, you should be suspicious that this is becoming more than a warning sign for you, that this person who is nice to you on the way, on the journey, could actually be forcing you into sex work. And it's also important that mothers, parents, when you want to give your child to anyone, you should understand or know the family of the person you want to that want to provide support for you. Not that anybody is just coming. See, let me tell you one thing. People who are even families, our families and our relatives, it's even difficult for some of them to provide help and support for our children to travel out of the country. Not to talk of somebody coming from nowhere, maybe in the party or in the village, or you hear that the person is a friend to one sister, and then the person is unnecessarily becoming so nice, so generous, and promising to take your daughter because your daughter is beautiful, or because your daughter have a nice shape, and then the person says, she's going to be doing well, she's going to be working as a model, she's going to be working in the fashion industry, I think I can help her to get a job as a receptionist. All of these are lies, and all of these are part of the things that happen that make people to go into or fall victim of human traffic. If you enjoyed this video or this talk show, you can share the video. The common age a child enters sex traffic, most times between 14 to 16 years of age, and some of these children will not realize what is happening to them. Before they realize, their future is already damaged. So we need to stand up together The society need to stand up together. The family need to stand up, and the parents need to be responsible. Sometimes we call it sex prostitution, like the way society call it, but the federal law sees it as sex trafficking. When you are forcefully taking in a child or a young person against their wish to become, to start working in the sex industry, it is actually sex trafficking. So victims of these people, most times, they could be in need of help, and somebody is going to be providing or promising all of those help and all of those things. But the society need to provide support. If you identify any child or any adolescent who is in sex trafficking, especially from areas like the slum community in Lagos, for instance, not only in Lagos, even in Kano, in Kaduna, you see some suburbs that you go to, like Sambogeri in Kano, or other places in Kaduna, or in other, across the country. You see young girls, teenagers who have been exploited or transported from their village. They've been trafficked. And sometimes the traffickers, or these people who are perpetrating this evil, they could be men, they could be men, they could be also women. Sometimes you see a friend of your brother or somebody that know your brother becoming unnecessarily nice to you, buy you things, giving you stuff, and promising you they want to take you abroad, he wants to marry you. All of those things are fake promises, and they make money out of your ignorance. So we need to understand, where are sex traffickers getting people, their victims? Where are they getting it? They almost all the time get their victims through the social network. When you go on Facebook, WhatsApp, Instagram, or other social media, you are discussing with someone you don't know, someone you have not met, and then the person is promising you heaven and earth, promising you to support you to travel abroad. You don't know who this person is, and the person is promising you, I'm going to marry you, I'm going to support you, I'm going to provide job for you. Those people are traffickers. They want to engage you, exploit you, and they can actually do whatever they promise you, but sorry, you may end up in a wrong note. I've seen a lot of girls, especially also from Ijora, that have been promised that they are going to be taking them abroad. Some of them, they force them through Libya, and then even in Libya, they have been engaged in sex work forcefully, and some, including even men, are forced to provide services without getting paid by their kidnappers or by the people who traffic them. They make money out of them, and we have seen all over in the internet. I don't need to show you any video to convince you that these things are real. Even men, able men, are sold. They have been sold like animals. $200, $500. Sometimes they kidnap them, ask them to call their family members to pay ransoms before they are being released. These are happening because people are desperate. They want to travel out of the country. People are so desperate. They want to pass through Libya, through the desert, and risk their life. Some of them died along the way. Some are going to be arrested and in detention. Some fall sick. Some don't even have access to water to drink. Instead, some of them are even made to drink their poo, their urination, in order to survive. We see all of those things happening. Inhuman treatment that is happening. And then some continue to risk their life in the Mediterranean Sea. Some people will bring balloon canoe, rubber canoe, like the blow canoe that they just put hair in there, and then they push it in the shore and ask you guys to come in, pay some amount of money, come in, and they put all of you. They collect so much money from all these people, and then they push the canoe into the ocean, and all of you are going to be to your tent, O Israel. If the wave come and wave all of you and push you, a lot of people will die even without getting to Europe. So let me tell you, those international labor organization and international immigration organization that are providing support to go rescue people from the ship, from the sea, they are no longer providing those services right now because of COVID-19. And a lot of them don't even have the resources to continue to rescue individuals who are dying in the sea because COVID-19 has limited access to their funding. COVID-19 has made a lot of countries to even shut their borders. So don't even try to risk it. If embassy deny you visa today, you have a choice to go back and reapply. If they keep denying you a visa, you have a right to go to another embassy. There are many countries in the world, over 221 countries in the world. And if you carry Nigerian passports, there are 44 countries you don't even need visa. Some of them you get your visa upon arrival. So why are you desperate that you want to go to Europe by walking through desert in Libya or by going to swim in the Mediterranean Sea? Don't risk your life, my brother. And going to abroad is not by force. Everything in life is by destiny. And some of them happen by planning your life and by putting a lot of plan into play. I've seen people who are even in Nigeria who are doing better than some of us, a lot of us that are in abroad. There are people who are in the country, in Nigeria, and they are doing so well. They are making out so much money without doing 419, without engaging in any form of scam, without even doing kidnapping or armed robbery. They are doing legitimate business, and they are making so much money, and they are providing for their family. So apart from social network, we see that sometimes the home neighborhood, you see people go to the home neighborhood and they continue to scout for innocent girls who are in desperate condition. Maybe they lost their father, girls who are the head of their household, girls who are, suffering within the family to survive. They don't have money to pay for their education. They just want to exploit innocent girls who are in desperate need with empty promises. And at the end, their life is going to be involved. Sometimes they go to clubhouses, and sometimes they go to the bar, they exploit bar attendants, people, some of those innocent girls who are working getting 10,000 or 15,000 naira salary. At the end of the month, they're like, how much are they paying you? I can take you abroad. I'll take you to abroad. You are going to make a lot of money. It's a life. And sometimes they also go to schools, from university, polytechnic, college of educations. I've seen a lot of girls who are lured into sex work or human traffic from the university by friends of their friends or elder brothers of their friends or friends to, all of those boys, big boys that drive cars, they come flashing cars and all of those things promising you. It's your life that is at risk. We need to be very careful. And traffickers, they actually lure people with the promises of protection. I'm going to protect you. Nothing's going to happen to you. Follow me to the city. And they take advantage of you. Or they promise you, I'm going to take you around places. You are going to see a lot of beautiful places. Adventures is a lie. They can also take you, promise you home, love, marriage, opportunities. All of those things are lie. So guys, we need to be very careful. Okay? While we talk about immigration, we're also talking about human traffic, and we're talking about some of the challenges that could happen. Okay, so let me talk about something that is a lot of people don't know, but before then, let me share these two stories. The first one is Elsa. Elsa was deceived, right? She was deceived and forced into the life of prostitution after losing her parents at the age of 12 years old. She lost her parents, and she was the first child. She had younger brothers she needed to care for. They promised her that she's going to get a job, she's going to be making money, she'll be able to support the family, support the brothers and all of that. And they took her abroad. And how did she get convinced to be in this kind of job? Somebody just took her to a local bar. A local bar owner said, don't worry, I'm going to employ you and I'll be giving you money. And she ended up working so much, receiving nothing or little. And at the same time, they were also forcing her to do prostitution without getting money. So she was trapped for years. She was trapped for years. She couldn't even go back to take care of her younger sister, her brothers and sisters. And she was sexually exploited. But now, she's free. There's another guy, Foley. Foley was a young boy who was forced to work for his uncle. His uncle has a fishing boat, and they brought him right away from the village, from his family house, and he was taken to another village far away from where the immediate family could have access to him. And this young boy at 14 was forced to do 19 hours work in a day. So 19 hours, this young boy will be on the boat fishing. And all the fish, everything is taken back home to his uncle. His uncle is selling them, making money out of it without putting the boy in school, without paying a dime to the boy, just feeding the boy, giving the boy food. And that continued for a long time. That's a forced labor. A lot of that happened as well. You see people coming from Ibadan, from Oshun, from Ilaje, from village, anywhere to Lagos, and somebody is just going to be giving them food, accommodating them in the house without paying them, forcing them to work. All of those are forced labor, and we need to be very careful about it, you know. So there are countries in the world that human traffickers traffic people to. US, they traffic people to US, Mexico, and the Philippines. Those are the countries where a lot of people are coming to traffic people. But in 2019, over 105,000 victims of human trafficking were identified across the world. Over 105,787 people. Those are the reported cases. Those are the documented cases. A lot of people are still in human traffic gang and have not been reported. Some of them have not come out and they've not been arrested. Some of those innocent child or children have not been able to be rescued. They are still within. This thing happen every day. It's not a matter of prayer, you know. And let me tell you that sometime when I was in Lagos, you know, I was in the church and then a woman came. She came to pray, you know, in the church. And then after praying, she wanted to ask, somebody promised to take her daughter to Europe, and she wanted to pray over it to see if she should allow her daughter to go to Europe and go and walk. And then, instead of me focusing on praying, because this is not a prayer matter, I had to counsel. Like, madam, who is this person taking your daughter or promising your daughter to take your daughter out of the country? They've already secured the visa, they've secured the passport, everything, the plan is in place. But the point is, this person is not a family member of this human. He just came and identified the girl because somebody networked him to the family, and the family is in need, desperate. They are in need. There's no money. And then the person promised, like, oh, you have a beautiful daughter. She's going to be working. She's going to be supporting. She's going to end up in human traffic gang. Let me also let us understand the fact that it's not only sex exploitation or forced labor or it's not only forced labor or debt bondage that can happen with human traffickers. There's what we call organ trafficking. People can as well traffic individuals because they want to exploit their organ. This happens a lot, and it is very prevalent according to the information available, even in Israel, in India, in China, in Pakistan, in Turkey, in Brazil, in Nepal, in the Philippines, in Kosovo, in Iran, and the former Soviet states in Eastern Europe. They force people, you know, the traffickers, the human traffickers also force people to traffic them in order to exploit and harvest their organ. So most times human trafficking victims may be ignorant of the person that is taking them. Somebody promised to take you to China or promised to take you to Turkey and all that, or India or something. They could exploit you, take away your organ, either your kidney or any part of your body, and those things are going to be sold in the black market without you knowing, or they can just give you a little money, but they are damaging your life if you don't know. And at that point, you may not be able to call for any help because you may not be conscious of what they are going to do. So, you as an individual, when you are being trafficked, you could also end up in jail. Most times, human traffickers end up in jail, or they are being deported, you know. But we've seen some of the girls in Libya, some of them in Egypt, in Cairo, some of them in other countries in the Arab world, even in Saudi Arabia, who have been locked indoor, forced to provide services continuously, and have access to their passports. and they will seize everything away from them. They will just continue to be there. Why, at the end, you know, some of them have been able to have access to internet to beg the government to come to their rescue. We've seen all of those things happen. So if they are not ending up in jails, some of them could be deported. So we need to understand that these things happened a lot of time. Okay? So people can traffic you for whatsoever reason, and they make money out of your organ, your body part, your heart, your kidney, your liver. All of those things are money. They exploit people and they sell them to make money. Before you give your daughter to anybody, any aunt, any uncle, you should know who this person is going to be. Be careful. Okay? I think it's good that you allow your child to learn one or two work if you do not have access to pay for education, because we know that in Nigeria, most times education is not like free. The way the politicians have campaigned to us that it's going to be free to some level. You see people paying so much money, even parents going to run in debt because they want to pay for WAEC for their children. We've seen all of those things happen. So you need to provide an alternative way of ensuring that your child have access to a life skill if they cannot have access to the right education that could help prepare them. Adewale Blessing, thank you so very much. I appreciate you, and for the wonderful birthday surprise package to your daddy, my big brother. I think that's a very important one, and I really appreciate you for that. God bless you. So, let me talk about the root cause. The root causes of human traffic. We know, myself and you know, everybody know in the world that poverty is one of the major root causes of human trafficking. Poverty. If there is so much poverty in the land, women, parents will not care for their child to be trafficked anywhere, or to be taken to go and serve somebody in the house, to be a housemaid, or to go and work somewhere far away from where you know. Most times, you didn't even have access to the right address or the phone number. And you know, in Nigeria, we don't have a database where people can be able to track or know the person that is taking your child away. So they end up being exploited for a long time, forced labor or sex traffic. And, you know, because they give little money to the parents and say, manage this 100,000, your daughter is going to be going away to work, and, you know, for some couple of years, it's going to come back. And then you may never have right to see this child again. So this continuously happened even in 2020. So one of the reasons why this thing is happening is poverty. And then lack of education. When individuals do not have access to education, especially the girl child, they could actually become victims of human traffic. In fact, even in Nigeria, this thing happened locally. You see some of the young children you see in the northern part of Nigeria, their parents give birth to them because there's so much poverty, or they cannot feed those kids. Then one of our imam will say he can take care of those children, bring them in the Islamic school, let them continue to do Islamic school without you paying any amount of money. And then those kids are going to be in the Islamic school. But rather than being educated in the school, what is going to happen is that the imam is going to give them plates. They will continue to go on the street begging money, begging so much money. And when they come back in the evening, that money is going to be taken away from them. That's forced labor. How do they feed? They have to feed on their own. Some of them run into restaurants to go and be packing food, remnants. That's how they feed in their breakfast, their lunch, and their dinner. So the only thing the imam or the Islamic education, those scholars who are exploiting them, the only thing they do is to provide shelter. You know, a space where they can put their head, sleep, and the next morning again. They don't even use this money they are making to care for them, for their clothing. They don't use to care for them for education, or even for them to have good upkeep. They look so tattered, and they will just be roaming about the streets. You see them everywhere. You see them in Abuja, the state capital as well. You see them even in Katsina, where the president of Nigeria is coming from. You see them everywhere in major part of northern Nigeria, begging money, begging for food, begging for survival. So corruption is also another basic problem that make people end up in the hands of human traffic or traffickers. Corruption. When there's so much corruption in the system, people become human trafficked unconsciously. You know, when the government is irresponsible, then there's going to be so much poverty in the land because corruption is going to corrupt the system and then it's going to make people suffer a lot. So, gender inequality is also another thing to watch out for. Gender inequality. You see, when the girl child do not have equal access to education or equal access to empowerment or equal access to job opportunity, they end up becoming victims, you know, of individuals who decide to come and provide support unnecessarily, those who they don't even know, and then they end up being exploited. Myself and you need to join hands to stop human traffic. It's illegal in the country and it need not to continue in the country. And let me tell you that there is a law against human traffic, and this law is the law in the country. Let me actually quote the law in Nigeria, the Trafficking in Persons Law, the Enforcement and Administration Act. Trafficking in Persons Law Enforcement and Administration Act. It was amended in 2015, and the criminal law and sex trafficking provide a minimum of up to 7 years imprisonment for anybody who is involved in human traffic, and with a penalty of like ₦1 million. I think that penalty is even too small. You know, there are people who are known for all of those things. The only thing they are professionals, the only thing they do, their source of income, the business they do is to go exploit innocent young girls, young boys, take them anywhere far away from their family and exploit them continuously. They make money out of those profession, illegal profession, and they build big houses, buy big car, and start riding on the street. Be careful. So there's no amount of prayers that can stop human trafficking if we are not standing up against it. And sometimes pastors in the church, they know these people, and they think that they are just providing support for the church. They are helping girls, taking them abroad, and continuously they would come to the church, pick girls in the choir, trying to set them up and then take them out of the country. If anybody want to provide support for you, let them empower your girl child in your presence, in your village, wherever you are, under your custody. Let them provide money. Even if they want to give you a loan, let them give it so that your girl child can be empowered to provide service for herself, independently work, or look for one business or go to school. Whatever they want to do, let them do it, not taking away your child away from you. If you don't know those people, if they are not your brothers or family, your sisters, why giving your child away? So that's what I want to talk about today. And I will continue with my Barbara song. Àtòní ìgbà o, àtòní ìsọ̀rọ̀ lọ, bàbá. Kẹ́lẹ́, 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 kẹ́lẹ́. Kẹ́lẹ́, kẹ́lẹ́, mo bọ́ Ọlọ́run mi sọ̀rọ̀ o. Mo tún gbàròyé mi dé o. Ìwọ ni màá rojọ́ yìí kò bá mi. Bàbá alámọ̀ ó mọ̀rí mi. Máma jayé pàtàṣọ ìmọ́lẹ̀ mi o. Bàbá alámọ̀ ó mọ̀rí mi. Máma jayé pàtàṣọ ìmọ́lẹ̀ mi o. Igi gún mi lójú àkóró ojú mọ́ra. A ní kó fọ̀nà hàn ní. Oníbìbínú ara lè wọ́n fara ya. Bí o tilẹ̀ ro igi tó gún mi lójú, ó ṣàgbọ́rọ̀ ọ̀rọ̀ tọlọ́run tó dá mi. Ògo àti àwọn ìràwọ̀ ayé mi yóò. Ọjọ́ tí mo ti mọ bàbá ló ti mọ́mọ́ mi. Ọ̀dọ̀ rẹ̀ ni mo ti yàn pín ògo. Èmọ̀sẹ̀ nílé ìjọra. Thank you so very much, Barbara, for this wonderful song. God bless you and thank you so much. I know you're online and I can see you. Do care. God bless you and do have a wonderful time. If you enjoy the talk and you think this talk is going to be important to help somebody, please share this talk show. This is how we Sorosoke, because we feel that if the government is doing their bit, or we're talking to the government to continue to step up their game in terms of governance, we also need to talk to ourselves. There should be a way that we can have a civic engagement to know what is right and how we can fight corruption, human trafficking, which is like a global monster that is affecting immigration system across the world. So let us continue to be good to each other. Let us continue to be our brother's keeper. Let us continue to educate people,
over 50 years
help people,
the dream of curing childhood cancer. Our mission.
Let's continue to help people. Tani mo gbójúlé tí mo fi ṣakọ. Wọ́n nílò òfin tèmi tójó nílùú mi dá o. Ajá ilẹ̀ mi lẹ́yìn máa pọ̀ bọ́, ìwọ ni mo ní o. Ewé ní àṣírí ẹ̀kọ́ ìwòwò ló wà ó darí o. Nítorí ìwọ. Bàbá máma jẹ ń jábọ́. Ṣé ní ìwọ? Bàbá má dojú tì mí o. Àtòní gbà o, àtòní ìfọ̀rọ̀ lọ ọba ńlá. Olóore. Jésù olóore, olóore, bàbá jẹ́wọ́ ara rẹ láyé mi, bàbá jẹ́wọ́ ara rẹ níṣẹ́ mi, bàbá jẹ́wọ́ ara rẹ lórí ẹ̀dẹ̀ mi alágbára, bàbá jẹ́wọ́ ara rẹ lórí ọmọ mi, bàbá jẹ́wọ́ ara rẹ lórí ẹ̀dẹ̀ mi alágbára. Olóore, 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 olóore. Olóore, Baba jẹ́wọ́ ara rẹ o, olóore. God bless you. Do have a wonderful New Year celebration. Remember to be safe. Yourself, your family members. COVID-19 is still very much around. All you need to do is continue to protect yourself. Observe social distance. Always wash your hand. And avoid going to a crowded event or places. Be safe. Till we'll see you again next year. God bless you.